Good morning, it's Ann from Yarn Folk. This is like take 5. We're gonna try and get through this before this Pepsi truck starts its engine again. um, Welcome to our weekly video recap. This week we are going to show you some of the kits we put together for the Have a Ball Fall Crawl. That was completed, my portion of it was completed last weekend. There's still some chaos to be broken down. Hopefully that's gonna happen today. You can still register for the crawl. So what you will not get is the first weekend of presentations live. Those happened. But what you will still get is access to the second weekend of live presentations. You're still going to be entered in the prize drawings. And you, at the end of Saturday, when they send out the recap from the Saturday presentations, you'll also get a link to the recap for the first weekend presentations. So it was, there were 21 shops presenting, and we all had a lot of fun, those of us who have gone so far, and we put together some great stuff for you. So I'm going to show you a couple of the things that that I showed folks. This is the A Little Bit Alexis cowl. It is a Rosemary Hill pattern. It is inspired by Alexis, the character from Schitt's Creek. And like Alexis, it is simple on the top and a little more complicated underneath. We did kits for this in Madeline Tosh DK, 2 skeins of the DK. Some of them, the top part is a speckle, some of them are semi-solids, and then there are semi-solids on the bottom to show off the twisted stitch and lace work there. There's also, this pattern is finished with an I-cord edge, and it's I think a 6-stitch I-cord, and there's enough room for this cord and tassels, so that's kind of a unique feature. And yeah, so the kits include the 2 skeins and the pattern. Then we also have a new crocheted beanie sample. This is the Forest Nymph beanie. The pattern is by Jean Ann Attow, our friend from Cerulean Orchid. She's also a crochet pattern designer. And it relies on front and back post double crochet. The kits include a skein of Kim Dye's yarn, brioche DK, and a coordinating pom-pom. So this is a fun project, and it comes together pretty quick. And then the last thing that I'll show you here is we have some new row counters. So I'm gonna grab the sheep because that is the most thematic one. So these are silicone. They basically work like reusable bubble pop. Bubble wrap is what I'm trying to say. And you have the option of, if you wanted to number these little spots, you could do that with a Sharpie. If you wanted to, count out how many you need to depress and, put a sticker or something on them to let them, let yourself know that when you get there, you're done. Or if you just want to count, the ones that you have depressed, that is also easier than counting rows, especially when you're doing something like a cable pattern. And unless you have quite a bit of experience with doing cables, it can be kind of difficult to count how many rows you are in the cable pattern. So these are super fun. They're $9, and we have 5 different designs. This is the sheep. We've got a rainbow alpaca. We have a rainbow fox. There is a triceratops, and there is a T-Rex. So those are people who watched the crawl observed that I was not able to stop playing with them while I was presenting about them. It's just, for me, the problem with using row counters is remembering to move the row counter, and this is so much fun that kind of solves that problem. So we're pretty excited about those. I realized I just did this backwards, but I just want to highlight, now that we're getting close to moving into October, we have a couple of fun events coming up on the 16th, which is a Wednesday, from 4 to 6 Pacific time, 7 to 9 Eastern time. Patty Lyons is going to do her Build a Better Fabric class for us. That is a Zoom class. It is a live Zoom only. And she's going to give, you know, lots of technical information about creating fabric, and she's also got a great Q&A at the end of every class. So that is coming up. The cost is $49.99, and you can, if you just go to yarnfolk.com, there's a link to register right there on the homepage. Then a couple of days later, on the 19th, Kim Dyes Yarn will be visiting here from the East Coast. Kim is in Virginia, and she's going to be shipping a trunk show to me and then arriving in person on that Saturday. So we are very much looking forward to that and hope that you can join us. I'm going to pause here, and we're going to go and look at a couple of the kits that we have for Melanie Berg's designs and talk a little bit about Melanie. She is the featured designer for the Have a Ball Fall Crawl this year, and we've got some nice kits. So one second, I'm going to move the camera. All right, this is Melanie Berg's One More Stripe shawl. This is a very generously sized shawl. It's at least 6 feet wide, and it might be 8 feet wide. It starts with a garter eyelet section. You can kind of see that here. And then as you end the project, you're working on these stripes that have little short row blips in them. They're extremely fun to work, and at that point you're striping through 6 different contrast colorways, so that adds to the momentum of the project. So this is a really fun one. The yarn that we used in our kits is Amble from the Fiber Company. It's 70% merino wool, 20% easy wash alpaca, and 10% recycled nylon. It's incredibly soft, beautiful palette of colors, and we have 4 color choices for the shawl kits. Winter Walk in a Birch Forest is, the main color is 2 of the full-size skeins of Amble in Chalk Cliffs, which is kind of a winter white, I guess, an off-white. And then there are 5 neutral colors as the contrast in that kit, with 1 red to kind of just give it a little sense of, you know, berries, or, you know, some of the other liveliness that comes through even when the world is covered in snow. So that is one of the kit options. This one here is Moroccan Tile. There's another one called Rose Colored Sunnies, and the 2 main color skeins are Saddleback Slate, which is a deep charcoal gray, and then there are 5 different pinks and one of the chalky white color. And then the last option is Which Blue Are You? The main color skeins are a cool heathered light gray, and then there are 6 different blues that are incorporated into the stripes. So this is a very fun pattern to make. It is very generous and easy one to wear, and Amble is a great yarn. You've loved it so far, and we're excited to have a nice kit that combines both the full-size skeins with the minis. Then here we have Melanie Berg's Never Wear shawl. This one is, I think it's 8 feet wide. Beverly made this, and it is featuring 2 skeins of our shop colorway in Tosh Merino Light. This is Charlotte. And then there's a coordinating mini skein. The unicorn tails are the Tosh Merino Light mini skeins. And there's a contrasting stripe in Tart. So this is a really, you can get a sense of the movement on this. The Tosh Merino Light has a beautiful drape to it. The pattern starts out with some mock cables. There are a couple of garter stitch ridges, and then there is a honeycomb brioche section followed by some wide ribbing at the edge. It super soft, fun to knit. Although I didn't knit it, but this was worked up very fast. And yeah, it's a beautiful project, and we are happy to have it offered as a kit. Melanie, I just want to encourage you, if you do choose to register for the Have a Ball Fall Crawl, still make sure you do catch the conversation between Melanie and the crawl organizers that opened the crawl. And again, you'll get that replay available to you. She's just a lovely person. She has been knitting since she was a small child. She takes the knitter's experience of knitting her patterns and you know, what kind of experience they will have using her patterns really to heart when she's designing. You may be aware that a couple of years ago she experienced breast cancer, and one of the things that came out of that was she's begun adding something called row maps to her patterns, and those are check sheets for each step of the pattern with stitch counts. They make it very easy to keep track of your place in the pattern. And she developed them because she wanted to keep knitting while she was experiencing some mental confusion from chemotherapy treatment. But honestly, they're you know, they're one of those adaptations that is great for lots of people. I will say that this pattern doesn't have that available yet, but the One More Stripe pattern does, and I used those sheets religiously while I was making that sample. It really helped to keep me on track. So those are the two Melanie Berg kits that we put together for the crawl, and you know, any of her designs are lovely. So if there's one of her other designs that you're interested in working up, give me a shout and we'll figure out something that would be great for it. The last thing I'll give you a peek of is my very nearly completed Elmer sweater. This is a Pernille Larsen pattern. It has a little button neck so that you've got room to get big baby heads through the neckline. I'm using Barocco Tilly for this. Barocco Tilly is 70% Pima cotton and 30% Cupro, which is a recycled fiber, not recycled, reclaimed fiber from cottonseed oil processing. It is incredibly soft. This texture pattern is very easy to memorize. It's very easy to tell where you are in the pattern. And this I've been hoping it would be done for a bit now, but I think that we really are there. I had a little bit of a setback when I was working on it for a little bit on Monday. I was very tired, for starters, and I have a sock project that I had put a couple of rows on, and the sock is a pattern that is somewhat similar to this, but not the same. And when I was working on this sleeve, I realized that I had started doing that stitch pattern instead of the actual stitch pattern. So I had to pull out a few rows and redo it correctly. But we're back on track. We're almost done. And I'm excited to have this little sample up in the shop because it's going to let you, you know, see what this yarn feels like worked up. And if you have any babies to knit for, it is an extremely cute little pattern. Okay, that is it for today. And I'm going to end this video before another truck pulls up. Thanks for watching, y'all.